Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to the Border Patrol for this Thursday, January 4th, 2024. I did it again. Wrote 23 in my book. 24. My name is Nate Bukaty. And if you're disappointed to hear my voice to open the show again, that makes more than one of us. Unfortunately, Stephen St. John, right as his vacation was coming to an end, has come down with a fever. And I don't want to get whatever he has. I don't know about anybody else. So we said, stay home. And he's going to do that. That's the appropriate thing to do. I know he's itching to get back in the studio, but it's going to have to wait for at least another day. So you get me and Jake again today. But lucky for you, we have another good show lined up for you. We've got Adam Kaplan at 7:30. A lot to talk about with him with all these big matchups with playoff implications coming up this weekend. We will have Dieter and Sherm both in studio, both back.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Yep.
I saw a clip of the Buddy Listen podcast the other day where Garrick Dieter was being busted about showing his quarterback up during practice. My guess is that might be related to whether or not a certain wide receiver for the Chiefs showed up Patrick Mahomes after dropping a ball this past weekend. But we'll find out about that from Dieter and Sherm and much, much more. I believe Anthony Sherman started at tailback in a last week of the regular season game when the Chiefs didn't have anything to play for. So we could talk about that as well. And then we'll go to school with Jesse Newell in the 9 o'clock hour. So we've got a lot of football coming your way, as we should this time of year, as we're getting ready for another Chiefs playoff run, hopefully.
Playoffs?
And yesterday, we got the answers to some of our questions about how the Chiefs are going to handle this game against the Chargers. The voices you heard on the intro that was put together wonderfully by Jake were that of Blaine Gabbert, who's going to be starting at quarterback for the Chiefs, as Patrick Mahomes will be given the day off. You heard Champ Kind from the movie Anchorman, who agrees with Blaine Gabbert. It's all about having fun, although they might go about it in different ways. Hopefully, the Chiefs' offensive players all keep their pants on and don't start any fires. Speaking of fires, man, what a crazy story involving Tyreek Hill down in Florida with his house. We saw the images. I would assume if you've been on social media or anywhere else, you saw the images of Tyreek Hill's house aflame. Thankfully, everybody seems to be okay, but that's a scary situation. That's crazy. Hopefully Champ Kind had nothing to do with that.
Right.
But Blaine Gabbert wants the guys to have fun, which is a good message. We'll hear more from him in a little bit. He spoke to the media yesterday since he's going to be the starting quarterback. And you also heard from Andy Reid butchering the pronunciation of the Chargers interim coach. We all know it's Jiff, not Gif. Jiff Smith.
It's GIF. Andy Reid said so.
It's Jiff,
It's
man.
not a- it's
the
not a
guy that
GIF.
invented it said Jiff.
I don't think so. I do not think so.
I'm playing, of
GIF.
course, this man's name is GIF because it has two Fs. That's why it's GIF and not GIF. But the kind of thing that you post on the internet is a GIF. We all know that.
It's a GIF.
Everybody
I'm
agrees
putting
with
up a
that.
poll.
Everybody understands that's the way
It's
it
a
should be
GIF.
pronounced. It's a GIF.
No.
Just like the Giants play in football and
G stands
giraffes
for
have
graphic.
long necks.
G stands for graphic.
Yeah, but it's a word now. It's not an acronym.
No, it is definitely an acronym.
It was, not anymore. It's
so
a
it
word.
changed.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Just like the English language. Just like the definition of the word literally, which means nothing now. That word absolutely means, it literally means nothing. It doesn't literally mean nothing, but nobody understands what the word literally means anymore. So that's just a way to emphasize your.
That's ironic.
Yeah, it's just a way to emphasize your metaphoric language. What did Ben say to me yesterday? These slippers feel like I literally have blankets on my feet. You don't. Literally, you have slippers on your feet. That's what you have. Anyway, we'll hear from Andy Reid. We'll hear from Blaine Gabbert. We'll talk about the Pro Bowl list, of which there are 5 Kansas City Chiefs, and none of them are named L'Jarius Sneed. And just about everybody who follows the Chiefs on a daily basis knows how absurd that is. Has there been a better player for the Chiefs this year than L'Jarius Sneed? No is the answer. I'll just answer that one for you. Jake was contemplating it. Jake was thinking about it, and I appreciate giving careful consideration to the question, but no. He has been the best player the Chiefs have had. Now, look, quarterback is quarterback. I get it. Like, quarterback is a different animal. Everybody knows that's the most important position on the field. So I almost put Patrick Mahomes in a different category. Patrick Mahomes has still played tremendously well most of this year. He's been let down a lot, but he also hasn't played as well, I think by his own account, as he has in years past. But L'Jarius Sneed has just been incredible. But I think that part of the problem, we talked about this some yesterday when it came to the overall defense and how much credit they do or don't get with Bill Moss. He doesn't pick the ball off a bunch, and I think, look, this Pro Bowl is a combination vote of fans, players, and coaches. If you're not watching the Chiefs closely on a week-in, week-out basis, you don't understand what L'Jarius Sneed is. And that's one of the things that's tough, particularly about evaluating defensive backs. It's easy to evaluate wide receivers. Who has the most yards? Who has the most touchdowns? The offensive players, there's easy statistics to access that can kind of tell you, generally speaking, what kind of year the person's having. But as a defensive back, you have to dig deeper. And who's really taking the time to do that when they're voting on this stuff? On every single defensive back in the league. Jalen Ramsey makes the Pro Bowl. He played 9 games this year. Reputation. Now, L'Jarius Sneed probably makes the Pro Bowl next year because everybody makes such a big deal out of him not making it this year, and now his reputation is getting better and better. But you get noticed at cornerback by getting interceptions, right? Making big plays. Now, L'Jarius Sneed ought to get more recognition for what he does as a pass rusher, getting after the quarterback. But going out and locking down Jamar Chase all game, if you're watching closely and paying attention like we are, we all know that happened. But if you're not, if you're just watching games, watching Red Zone, things like that, L'Jarius Sneed probably barely turns up on Red Zone, because they don't throw it his way. That's one of the biggest things about a great corner is they don't go your way very often. So it's a big time snub. Big time snub, but it is what it is. It's the Pro Bowl. And they're not even playing the Pro Bowl this year, by the way. I was today years old when I learned that. I'm sure I should have known that already. But reading all about the 5 men, congratulations to the 5 players for the Chiefs who deservingly made it. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Creed Humphrey, Joe Tooney, Chris Jones. No, you're smirking. Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
I couldn't care less about the Pro Bowl. I care about All-Pro.
That's fair. That's fair. It's definitely more. It's a bigger deal.
Yeah,
but
it's nice. Great. Yeah, hats off to him. Good job. It's a nice feather in the cap.
Yeah.
It's nothing to knock. But it doesn't mean the same thing as All-Pro. All-Pro is the real deal.
Yeah.
All-Pro is the biggest measurable, the biggest award that you can get because there's only 22 guys that make All-Pro.
Yeah.
And it's the best at your position.
And he should be an All-Pro, L'Jarius Sneed. Like, he's good enough to be an All-Pro. But for those guys,
that's happened before, by the way.
Yeah.
It's happened that guys don't make the Pro Bowl and then they're all pro.
Yeah.
I mean, that's absolutely happened before.
Well,
so, because there's, I don't recall off the top of my head, but I believe it's like the voting is players, coaches, and are the fans involved at all? I should just, right off the top of my, I just pull a Nate. Hey, how's this work?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would start to look that up.
I'm pretty sure coaches and players do vote. But
all pros and honor is bestowed upon professional American football players that designates the best player at each position during a given season. All pro players are typically selected by press organizations who select an all pro team. A list that consists of at least 22 players. A good question, because I don't know exactly how you get voted all pro. It's not officially sanctioned by the NFL. It's considered more prestigious than the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, but the Pro Bowl, I was talking about the Pro Bowl, the fans are involved.
Yep. Yeah, so the Pro Bowl, yes, it's a combination of fans, players, coaches.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. I mean, that's what I was talking about. Like, because, it's not, if you got fans going and voting for Jalen Ramsey because they love Jalen Ramsey. That's why I don't put a whole lot of weight into it. But it's nice. It's good. It's good to have 5 players that are Pro Bowlers.
And look, I have to vote. I get the honor of voting on some of those types of things working with MLS, right? They want you to do
bragger.
Your best 22, you're all 22, or your best 11, things like that, your MVP, all these different things. And honestly, I don't love it because I might be doing a Vancouver game in May and then not another Vancouver game till June, so I see this one guy a couple times, and maybe the games that he played right before that game as I'm watching my film to get ready for that game. And so my impressions of that player are skewed heavily by what I saw in the 2 games that I actually called. Maybe that guy just played out of his mind that day, or maybe he was terrible. Whatever. And so I always think, man, it's tough. But then I think about, okay, well, who's better qualified to vote on these things? And the thing is, probably the media. And I know I can hear players saying things like, well, they never played the game. They don't know what it means. Like, these are your peers when the players vote and everything. True to a certain extent. But none of these people are paid. Like, the fans are not paid to pay attention to the whole league, right? It's not their job. As a player, your job is to get ready for the next game. Like, those guys might play, so certain players better than you know others. You're not studying, like, how many of those players that voted were aware that Jalen Ramsey only played 9 games this year? I don't know. But usually if you're in the media and you're being paid to cover all this stuff, that you take it a little more seriously. I mean, we talk about the coaches poll. The coaches usually aren't even the ones voting in their coaches poll. They have their SID or somebody else like that do it. So we've already spent more time talking about the Pro Bowl than we probably should have. Honestly, I got sidetracked to start the show, and I apologize.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Because, like you said, yeah, whatever. It's
nice. Way to go.
It tells you something right there that they're not even playing the game this year.
Right, I mean, they're doing it's like challenges or something?
Yeah, and there's a flag football game.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So good for them. That'll be on February 4th. More importantly, we do know how the Chiefs are going to approach this game. Andy Reid said certain players will rest. Most notably, Patrick Mahomes. Blaine Gabbert was brought to the media to speak yesterday. Let's go ahead and play a couple of these Andy Reid clips, Jake, as we start the show. We've talked about Travis Kelce and the fact that he is very close to another 1,000-yard season, which would give him 8 in a row. And Andy Reid was asked how he'll handle, and also Chris Jones, who's a half a sack away from double digits, which would make him some money. Reid was asked how he'll handle starters who have milestones on the line.
Yeah, it depends. Depends on what the milestone is.
Let's say it's an 8th straight 1,000-yard season.
We'll see. See how all that goes.
Do they have, what's the conversation like when you have those?
Probably one-sided.
Way to go, Matt Derrick.
Dude.
Let's just hypothetically say.
It's just throwing one out there. Just for example.
Well done, sir.
I don't know if you remember what I told Haley Lewis when she said, well, we'll find out what Andy Reid says. I said, well, what he'll say is, we're looking forward to the chance to play the Chargers. Looking forward to the challenge, playing the Chargers. And then we'll see how it goes. And they ask him about who's going to play. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Look forward to the challenge of playing the Chargers.
Yep. And we'll see how it goes. Can we play that whole clip again? I just like that. I love Matt Derrick. Let's say let's say there's a tight end you have who's dating a pop star, and here's one more time.
Yeah, it depends. Depends on what the milestone is.
Let's say it's an 8th straight 1,000-yard season.
We'll see. See how all that goes.
Do they have, what's the conversation like when you have those?
Probably one-sided.
What does that mean? It's a one-sided conversation.
Well, I mean,
he's not really interested in Kelsey's feedback. He's going to tell Kelsey what's going to happen.
I mean, that's kind of how you take it, right?
Right.
Like you're having a conversation with your son or daughter, and you already
tell you how it is.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's a one-sided conversation. I had a lot of those as a youngster.
That doesn't seem like Andy Reid. We all spent all week talking about how. All week. It's Thursday, I guess.
But
so,
it's behind the podium, Andy Reid.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, we spend all the time, like, Andy does a great job of paying attention to these types of things.
Yeah, and he does.
Helping his players out.
Look, that's Andy Reid behind the podium. I don't truly believe that it's a one-sided conversation.
Right, like he's not going to ask Kelsey how he feels.
No, but he's being asked about it,
do.
so he's telling the people in front of him, doing their job, asking these questions. That's one-sided. Stop asking me about it. I'll make the decisions. And, he is making the decisions, I think.
I have mixed emotions about this.
About the stats?
About the idea of the milestone.
Okay.
I think that the true spirit of playing a team sport should involve selflessness. Doing whatever's best for the team at all times, regardless of individual accolades or statistics. And if I really believe that, he shouldn't play this weekend. Like, and the thing is, like, I know there's room for gray area in life. I'm not one of these people that thinks it's either or on everything. But I have been thinking about that because the only reason for him to play at all in this game is for individual accolades and statistics. It's to further his Hall of Fame resume. It's to extend another record. It's to do something that is pretty badass, right? Like, it's cool as hell.
But to your point, it's a team game, and I think players that play with him. Have you seen the Barry Sanders documentary?
No.
It's fantastic. Barry Sanders, his rookie season, had a chance to take over the leading rusher for the season in the last week of the season, and he decided, "No, I'm good. We're going. I don't need it." And that kind of upset some of his offensive linemen.
Because they feel like they get a part of that record.
Because they were, they helped him get that record. They helped,
of course.
They wanted to block for the leading rusher in the NFL.
They want to be able to say that the rest of their life.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, these are individual records, but you can't do this on your own. So Patrick Mahomes, he won't be throwing the ball. So maybe Blaine Gabbert.
He threw it for the first 16 games of the season or whatever.
Right.
15 games Kelsey played.
Yeah. In the last, 5 seasons, so he has a piece in that. And so it's like, yeah, they're individual records, but you can't do it on your own. And so these guys, it means something to them too.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just
That's a decent point.
That's a different spin. 'Cause
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't remember which one of our guests said it yesterday. I think it was Matt Derrick said, like, the guy who cares the least about this is Travis Kelce.
You believe that?
I don't know. I'd say human nature. If I'm just going on the side of human nature, no, not really.
Right.
But I don't know Travis Kelce.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not saying that as a knock on Kelce.
No, I'm just
saying
saying
like
human nature.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that Josh Williams really cares less than Travis Kelce does about this?
Right.
I mean, maybe Travis Kelce doesn't care as much as some other people on the team.
Sure.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I give him that. But yeah,
it's a different animal because it's not just one season. It's not just this season.
Yeah.
Right? It's cementing his legacy as being the greatest tight end to ever step on the football field.
Right.
And he's cementing that.
And I guess there's a part of me that's like, so we're that simple-minded, that like he goes out and gets 2 meaningless catches in a meaningless game, and then he had a completely different year than if he didn't play in the game.
Well, what sounds better?
Oh, yeah.
He had 7 straight 1,000 yard seasons,
And
or he had
there's
8.
Yeah, and there's just like there's something magical about adding a comma to that. Like it's 16 yards, but somehow it goes from pretty good year to history. So I get that, and I also get that. Look, we're a stat-driven society. We just talked about L'Jarius Sneed, and how that could cost him and everything. So I get it, but I guess just like fundamentally, the whole concept, I just think is kind of. So you think he's going to play?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I mean,
I do.
Why would Andy Reid be like cloak and dagger about it? You know what I mean? Like. Maybe it's just, look, we don't want everybody talking about it all week. We're just not,
There's a possibility they haven't decided yet, too. There's a real possibility they don't know yet.
Yeah, like, I mean, because I'm talking like, it'd be one thing if this dude seemed young and spry and healthy, but he's beat up. He's been beat up for years, and he started the season beat up.
But what are 5 plays? Are 5 plays going to make it worse?
I mean, but there's so.
I get your point. Statistically
ask Bradley
speaking,
Chubb if one play matters.
right? No,
you know what I mean.
I get that.
I also get like don't live in your fears. You got to go. But I hate tempting the fates on things like that. You don't know that he's going to get 16 yards on the first 5 plays. I know they're going to try to force him the ball, but I don't know. Maybe the Chargers just go. You know what? Let's just play it straight up. If he gets it, great. We respect Kelce. Or maybe they come out and go, he ain't getting it on us.
We're going to hit him in the face.
If he wants to play against us, he's going to feel it, That part makes me nervous.
I get it.
I don't know. I don't know what the right choice is.
I mean, there is no right or wrong.
Right.
And whatever they do is the right decision.
Yeah.
Unless he goes out and gets hurt. I'll say it.
Oh, trust me, there'd be a lot of people. I told you I should have played him. Yeah, nobody was saying it beforehand. But that's the stuff.
I don't feel strongly one way or the other. I think it'd be great if he got it as a lifelong Kansas Cityan and a fan of the Chiefs to say that the greatest tight end to ever play the game, play for the team I rooted for.
I feel like he already is.
Yeah, sure.
And I feel like what's even better
He
than
is
another
right now.
1,000-yard season?
He is right now.
Another Super Bowl.
Yes, that's the ultimate. That's the ultimate flex.
And whatever you can do to make yourself in the best position to make a run at the Super Bowl again is what you ought to do.
But how many the best ever tight ends came before him, right? Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates. Like they were the best until the next comes along. All he's doing is making it harder for the next to come along. That's all.
Set the bar as high as possible.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk more about it. We're going to hear some more from Andy Reid. We'll hear from some Blaine Gabbert as well. This is the Border Patrol. We're off and running, presented by Jay Rieger and Company on the stream. Hope you're enjoying the stream on all the different digital avenues that you have to do that, or just listening right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Let's hear some more from Andy Reid. Todd Lebo was holding Andy Reid's feet to the fire, as he always does. We heard from Big Red, who was not exactly revealing when asked about whether or not a certain tight end might play this weekend. He said, we'll see. Said it'll be a one-sided conversation. One of the recurring phrases we've heard from our expert guest this week has been, maybe you play some of these guys on offense so that they can continue to find a rhythm. Get that offense some rhythm. You know, they finally seemed to pick up a little bit of momentum last week offensively. Lebo asked Andy Reid if he's tempted to play more of those guys on offense.
Well, I hope that we played, okay this past game for sure. I'm not worried about that, though. No. I just want to, make sure that we're ready when that time comes, and then this group's ready for right now. So this is not a less important game. It's just different guys in important positions playing the game and playing well. So it's you don't just throw these games out. That's not what we're doing with that.
This is not a less important game. They're just different guys. Yeah, it's not a less important game. It's just different guys out there. There just happens to be Blaine Gabbert playing a quarterback this time around. Not because the game's less important. I understand what he's saying. Hey, if you're one of these young players who's been busting your ass all year in practice, doing everything you have to do, memorizing the playbook, getting your butt kicked on scout team, and you get a chance to go out on a world-class sports venue and play an NFL game and not just show your coaches what you can do, but show every other scout in the NFL what you're capable of. This game's hella important. For some guys, this game is more important than any game that the Chiefs have played this year. You're gonna play the soccer alarm or whatever you want on this, but I remember one of the first games I ever got to do for Fox was a Gold Cup game between national powerhouses Guadeloupe and Suriname. And by the time their game was being played, they both had already been eliminated from going to the knockout rounds. So the email we got from the stats and info people at Fox said, not really any talking points on this game. This game really doesn't mean anything.
Good luck.
Hope everybody has fun. And I remember emailing back and saying, well, it means something to me because this might be the only game I ever get to call for Fox. So it's like it might as well be the World Cup final.
Champ here. I'm all about having fun.
I don't know if I'm ever going to get to do this again. This is a big opportunity for me. So, that's what some of these guys are going to feel in this game. So I understand what he's saying. This game is not less important to them. Now, when it comes to Chiefs fans and in the standings and all that stuff, of course, it's different. But that also does bring up a question, though, then for the coaches. Okay, you're trying to get ready for the playoffs, but you got this game in front of you. How do you split up your time? And you don't even know who you're going to play. I think that's a big key, too. If it was like, if they knew we're absolutely playing the Dolphins, maybe you just put a ton of time and energy into scouting the Dolphins. I don't know. Maybe they got enough coaches they can put that time and energy into scouting all 5 possible opponents. Andy Reid was asked how the coaches will balance this week with playoff prep at the same time.
Yeah, well, the important thing is that we get this one where we are good with it. And then I've got some of the assistants looking at the other things, the possibilities. But the guys that are in charge of these different areas for this game are focused in on that and doing that. And, you want to do well in this game. You want to do well. And that's how we go about it. Yeah.
How much resources do you dedicate to looking towards next week, knowing there's 5 different teams that you could face?
Well, a couple of possibilities you already know. So you can spend less time on that, but these other guys that are doing that are capable of doing that. They're in that position where they stay ahead every week for us anyway. So now they've got a couple more teams that they have to stay ahead of. And that's all right. Spend the time at it and do it, dig in, and you can give us the information down the road. But that's what they do anyways, the quality control guys.
So there's a little insight from Andy Reid on how they're going to handle this week. Is there anybody in particular you're excited to see? Like, is there anybody that you're like, oh, man, because let's be honest, this is a little bit like bowl games. Well, most of the best players aren't playing, but that also means we get a chance to watch our freshman quarterback, who we think is going to be even better than the one we just had, right? Okay, well, our left tackle's opted out, but we got a pretty highly touted young left tackle. Let's see what he's got. I'll tell you who I want to see. And it's the first-round draft pick from last year, Felix Onyeudike-Uzomah.
Yeah.
Sure. Let's see if he can go out there and do something.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I mean,
but
I was thinking about that this morning. Is like, has there been a Chiefs game that I just really don't care about as less as this one? I mean, look, we've had this situation in the past before.
This is a Chase Daniel special.
Right, but also it's like you knew where you're locked in. You knew who you're most likely playing. Like, I care so much more about the other games this weekend than I do the Chiefs game. And I don't ever really remember that being the case because in the past when they've had the number 1 seed. They had a first-round bye. And so it's like you just sit back and enjoy it. This week, like, I'm locked into all the other games. Like, the other games are so much more interesting to me. And there's some really good stories that are going on in these games. I think that the Texans-Colts game is fascinating to me. C.J. Stroud, Gardner Minshew. I think that game's like Gardner Minshew playing for a starting role in this league. I mean, the Colts are a pretty great story. I mean, they lose their first-round draft pick early in the season, and this team doesn't quit. They had to hold out with their star running back, and they still have got themselves in a situation where they can make the playoffs with Gardner Minshew, So, I care so much more about the other games. Like the Dolphins-Bills game, yeah, sign me up. I can't wait for that.
The thing is, so the Chiefs playing in the late window, I'm looking at those games. It's kind of nice because I don't really care that much about the afternoon game, the 3 o'clock window games. Bears, Packers, Broncos, Raiders could have mattered if the Chiefs had lost last weekend, but it doesn't. Eagles, Giants. I mean, I guess interesting to see if the Eagles can.
Yeah,
are they even playing for anything? I mean, I don't even know what there's. I don't care enough about the NFC right now. I've been so focused on the AFC. Seahawks, Cardinals, nah. And then Rams 49ers.
Backup versus backup.
Yeah, I mean that's worse than a bowl game in terms of and then Cowboys Commanders. Cowboys are favored by 13 points. So the good thing is like all the games that matter to us.
Yeah, they're early. Are
Saturday.
Yeah.
And early Sunday and then late Sunday. So. We can watch the Chiefs game, kind of like, okay, well, maybe we'll see. We can because that's gonna be part of it for us is just seeing who played well, who flashed, who played. Did some of these young guys or backups make a case that there's somebody that we should watch for the future, things like that. But yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, yeah, I don't care,
right?
And there just isn't that much of like. I'm not expecting Felix Onyeudike-Uzomah to go out there and dominate the game. If he was ready to do that, he'd be playing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't mean he's not going to be good. And I hope he gets the experience, and I hope it's a big step in his progress. But, like, if he was going to go out and kick ass, they would have seen some. I mean, I think they feel like he'd be ready for that. They'd play him some. He's just not playing.
Right.
And look, the guys playing in front of him are playing really well.
Yeah.
So I am excited to see him a little bit, but I'm not like, I don't have these big expectations. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going, like when Avery Johnson played for K-State, you're like, okay, let's watch this kid. I think I saw enough flashes from him when he played that he's got some special abilities.
K-State's in good hands going into next year.
And let's see it. Let's see it for a full game and against a good opponent that matters.
With a full complement of receivers.
Yeah. We were excited to watch that, whereas this, I'm like, hey, I'm looking
just something to
forward
watch.
Yeah.
That's something to watch. It's not that you're excited to see.
It's like when you watch a preseason game. Okay, which guys are we going to, which positions are you most interested in watching?
Who's going to be the fifth receiver?
Yeah. That's the one that I'm most interested in watching. Well, and because, like, let's just be honest, like Blaine Gabbert, we know what we got in Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah.
He's a veteran. It's not a, hey, we drafted this kid in the 4th round and he hasn't played. Hey, let's get a look at him. Well, we know what Blaine Gabbert is. Good, solid backup. It's good to have him, good to give him some reps, but it's not like you're going to sit there and watch and go, man, I can't wait to see
Right,
if
he's not a young developing quarterback.
Yeah, so that's I think that's part of what you're saying too. There's not some young running back that we haven't had a chance to get a look at all year.
This guy's just been buried on the depth chart.
Yeah, Lord knows there's not some wide receiver that we've just been sitting there waiting to see all year, right? I mean, they've tried them all.
Well, I mean, I guess it's kind of Justin Ross is kind of coming off injury, and I mean. Right, I'm just saying, he's not.
Yeah. So, we'll take a break. We'll hear from Blaine Gabbert though, because it is cool. He seems to have a great mindset, and maybe as a veteran for some of those young guys, he could set a good tone for how they should approach this game. Just like Champ Kind, all about having fun. Back after this on Sports Radio 810 WHB. First and foremost, I want to say I love the New Heights podcast. I haven't listened to this week's all the way through yet. It's kind of appointment radio or whatever you call it, appointment media, appointment listening. Great show, and I like the Kelsey brothers a lot. Yeah. We might play this clip a little bit later, but I'm crafting a tweet right now. Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce were talking about Mike Tomlin and the fact that he never has a losing record. Like he just goes out there and goes 500 or better, regardless of who the quarterback is, regardless of whatever adversity or hardships come his way. We talked with Mike DeCourcy about that. Mike DeCourcy he's a big Steelers fan, follows him closely. And we talked about whether or not, the reports and suggestions that maybe it's time for the Steelers to move on or time for him to move on or some combination of the two, and how silly that is. And Jason Kelce and I agree on this. I think it's absurd to disrespect Mike Tomlin. I think he's one of the greatest coaches in the NFL and one of the great coaches in NFL history, I would say. And I think we've seen Bill Belichick doesn't go 500 when he has a bad quarterback situation, right? He wins like crazy when he's got Tom Brady. He can't go above 500 when he doesn't have one time with Matt Castle, So I agree with Jason Kelce on this, but he said the media is so dumb. Why do we do the media? Bunch of jackasses just out here blanking, talking nonsense. One of the best coaches the NFL has ever seen about to possibly get his 17th consecutive non-losing season. Here's the thing, man. I know most people don't understand this. Language changes because we misinterpret it all the time. The word media, the word is a plural word, like people. Like if you're a person and then there are two of you together, you are now people. That's what media is. It's plural for medium. Medium being like a way to communicate. So the radio is a medium. Print journalism is a medium. Blogs are a medium. Television is a medium. Podcasting is a medium. So if you do a podcast, you're part of the media. So that's what that word actually means. But now it just means everybody who covers sports. That's what I think Travis Kelce is thinking when he says it.
That's the inference.
But so saying the media is so dumb is like saying the people is so dumb. Which whatever. But it also infers that we're everybody's talking with the same voice.
Right. I think that's the problem.
I mean, come on, man.
If you're gonna single somebody out.
Yeah.
Single somebody out who called for Mike Tomlin's job, because I'm with you. I think we had that conversation that if people are talking about this, right, they shouldn't be.
I think it's dumb. Right. I think it's whoever's saying it, that's dumb.
Right.
But everyone that talks is dumb now. It's just. And by the way, that's what you're doing. You're part of the media. You've gotten into this. And the great thing about it is you get the voice to say, I think those people are dumb. I think that statement's dumb. I think they shouldn't do that. But you're in this now, buddy.
You're a part of it.
You're a part of it. Podcasting is a media. That's all. It's a medium. I just did it. Podcasting is a medium. Part of the media.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Blaine Gabbert. I just want to get that off my chest. Because I'm like, all right, man.
You feel better?
I can understand if you are a player being annoyed by people judging your every move, criticizing everything you do, even though they couldn't do it themselves. all that. I get it. I get being annoyed with that if you're a player, but you're also a part of it now. Here's Blaine Gabbert. He's excited to get to make this start this coming weekend.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's a lot of fun. It's a great opportunity, and I told the young guys out at walkthrough, just have fun. A lot of guys are gonna have a great opportunity to go play for the first time, make a start for the first time, right? And I've been fortunate to start quite a few games in the NFL, and these opportunities don't come around very often. And just make the most of them, have fun, cut it loose, and just go play ball.
Have fun, cut it loose, and go play ball.
Champ here. I'm all about having fun. You know, get a couple of cocktails in me, start a fire in someone's kitchen, maybe go to SeaWorld, take my pants off.
Keep your pants on, guys.
Hey, do what you want, man.
That's right. But, could draw a flag.
Might.
I don't know. Could draw the ire of Joe Buck if you pretend to take your pants off.
Well, yeah, it could. And then Chris Jones. Combine.
We don't need that, do we?
No.
Nope. Blaine Gabbert was asked about getting guys like Travis Kelce milestones this week.
You know, the best part about the culture that we have here, there's a lot of selfless individuals. I know you're getting at Trav. He's 16 yards away from 1,000. Right. We all know that. But that's not how Trav plays. Right. He wants team success first, and he's always been that way. He genuinely loves football, and if he wants to play, he'll play. And if he's Coach Reed's decision to have him rest, he's going to rest. And ultimately, that's on Coach Reed. But if we're out there, we're going to do our damn best to get him 17 yards.
If he wants to play, he'll play. If Coach Reed wants him to rest, he'll rest. So if he plays, it's his choice. If he doesn't play, it's Andy Reid's choice. I don't think that's what he meant. I don't know, man. I don't know what the right answer is on that. I guess I'm trying to think I guess if I were in Andy Reid's shoes, I would just see what he wants to do. Do you want to play? If you want to play, I'm not going to stand in your way. You know what's best for your body. You know what you need to do to get ready for the playoffs. Because I don't think I wouldn't want. If the guy really wants to play, I wouldn't want to be the reason. No, you're not playing, man. I don't know. I guess that's part of your job as a coach, but at the same time, you want Travis Kelce to be in the right mind frame and happy and ready to go for the playoffs. If this matters a lot to him and he wants to do it, I think you let him do it. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Andy Reid not tipping his hand yet. We'll take a break. We got a lot more NFL sound coming your way right after this on Sports Radio 810 WHB.